So we are asked, what is Learning for Managers? My name is Jorge Acuña, and I'm going to try to explain to you what we do with experienced managers as well as emerging managers. Those are people who are just becoming managers, and how we work together to help them in the development of their career through training and development. So to start though, let's take a look at the whole story of the people that come to us and why they come to us and how things work. Imagine a new person or a person coming into the work and becoming a new manager. What are the reasons why people get promoted into management? And when you think about that, what we hear most often is that people get promoted because maybe there is some kind of relationship between them and the hiring person. Maybe the owner of the company is a friend of this individual, so they get promoted, or the boss is also a family member of this individual, so they get promoted for that reason. Another reason that we hear is, well, someone left and this was the person next in line, so that's why they got promoted into management. They've been here the longest, so they are the ones who get the job. Sometimes, and this is another very common response, is, well, they were a star performer. This person did great, so they got promoted, and they were a great nurse or a great salesperson. It doesn't matter what it is that they did. Now we're going to make them a manager, and that's great because they think, hey, I'm moving up the ladder. That's what we often hear, right? It's about that promotion, about keep moving forward. They see it as getting in the position of manager. And there are other reasons too, but usually those are the most common ones. Now, when people first get promoted, what happens? What we find is that there is this excitement, this great news feeling, right? I just got promoted, I feel accomplished, I am moving up the ladder, and I am feeling like I have been rewarded for my hard work and effort that I've put in. Now, many people stay with that feeling and they move on in their career, and that's great, but not all. There are some that after a while they realized, you know what, I used to be a star performer before and now not so much. I'm not that good now as I used to be in my new job. And they have this transition problem where before, now they were the star performer, they got along with their peers, now they are their peers, the former peers' boss, and they don't always know how to handle that relationship. And they don't always know what's expected of them. And so there is this fear of failure and this confusion, and all of these things can really wreak havoc in a new manager's life, and many of them will leave because they can't handle all these pressures and all these changes. And another thing that happens is that what we realized is many organizations, even though they have a good orientation packet for new people coming on board, they don't have many packages or training programs for people moving into management. So what we see is a lot of people being left to their own devices. And so we've heard from our people. We did a survey in 2013, and we asked managers, okay, well, how do you learn these things? What do you have to go through? And what they told us is 42% of them said, I had to learn on my own how to conduct interviews, something as fundamental as that for a manager. 37% said we had to learn on our own how to manage conflict. 31% said, well, I had to figure out on my own how to deal with low-performing staff. Again, all of these things affect them directly, and yet they had to figure it out on their own. No one was there to teach them or help them with these concepts. What that means is that they had to go through a lot of trial and error to figure out something that worked for them. And now here comes the experienced manager who has been teaching themselves all these things throughout the years. And now, honestly, they don't know if this is the right thing or the wrong thing to do. They just know this is what they've been doing because this is what worked for them throughout all this period of time. So they too need a little bit of help. They need validation to see if what they're doing is right or not. And they also need to know if there are other things that could be better or just as helpful. So when we come in, that's where we start. We start by helping people understand that we often hear that there are three key issues with managers, and this is what they face at work. It's lack of clarity, waste, and conflict. Now, how do this come about in the workplace? This is usually what we see. When you start with a goal and you think, as a new manager, you come on board and you have all these goals, but really they're not very clear. At first you think they're clear, and then you realize these are not very clear, and you don't know how to set goals for your staff either. You don't know how to set very clear goals or expectations for them. So that's where the lack of clarity begins. And then we see that because of the lack of clarity, what happens again, a lot of trial and error. We try different things that don't work until finally we hit something that kind of works, sort of works, but we don't know if it's the most efficient way of doing it. We just know it's the one that worked for now, so we keep moving ahead. So there's a lot of waste. And throughout all this process and throughout the career of this new manager, what happens? There is a lot of conflict. Many managers will claim that over 50% of their time is spent in conflict management. And a lot of that is simply just trying to manage those unclear expectations to begin with, which eventually leads to what? Many missed goals. So if we understand that those are the basic concepts, then we can come in and we can help managers with those fundamental tools that they're going to need to be able to perform at top level, not only themselves, but also to help their teams perform at top levels. And what we are doing is we're helping managers understand that the managers of today need to be leaders too. And not just any kind of leaders. We need to give them strategic leadership tools and skills, and they have to be sustainable tools and skills. So we teach the new manager, today's manager, to be a sustainable strategic leader. And we give them tools such as this one. These are some of the things that we actually cover in our courses. This is a strategy crafting model that we use to teach the new managers how to create a strategy and how to develop a sustainable strategy for the long term. Another thing that we teach them about, for example, here is personality and type, and how type can impact performance and relationships and conflict and decision making, and how your brain works, what science says about how you make decisions, and how you can leverage this knowledge and your type to better performance, to create better relationships, to reduce conflict, all these things. And we use for that, by the way, the Myers-Briggs Type Inventory, the MBTI, which is a world-renowned test or assessment instrument that helps us understand type and personality in the workplace. We also talk about decision making, for example. This is a model that we use to cover how people make decisions and how you with your team can come to the best decisions possible using and engaging the resources available in your workplace and the staff members that are there, how to get them really engaged in the decision making process, giving you information and the resources and the work that you need them to do to be able to accomplish the different goals that you have in mind. So as you can see, we provide not only models and information, we also want to provide practical tools and resources. And when we talk about information, we also make sure that we back everything that we teach or we discuss with data. So we want to make sure that these are proven methods, that everything that we discuss, for example, this is on conflict management, these are some statistics that have been published. So we always use information that already has been researched, and we just grab that research and apply it in ways that are practical to each manager and staff member. So with that incorporation of research data, research-based information, and practical sustainable practices, we help new managers understand what their path is, and experienced managers understand how they can improve what they already do well. I hope that was helpful to you in introducing who we are, and hopefully that will help you understand also what kind of services we could provide for you if you have specific needs in training and development at your organization. In the meantime, I hope that you come to one of our webinars or also to our live trainings. We hope to see you there. Have a wonderful day.